I get a moment of your time. Well, alright. Bankhead, I see you, partner. From the interviews to the news to your favorite tunes, you cannot lose when you tune into Straight Out the Trunk Radio. Hit me, From the interviews to the news, plus your favorite tunes, straight out the trunk. They got what you want now. Get your body go to sleep, and when you brush your teeth, when you first wake up, turn your radio up. Straight out the trunk now. Straight out the trunk. You are now listening to Straight Out the Trunk. Put your seat back, turn your radio up. Straight out the trunk. You are now tuned in and you're rocking with the best. Straight out the trunk. Everybody tuned in, let me hear you say Straight out the trunk. 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 Straight out the trunk.
What it do, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Bankhead, the name, Straight Out the Trunk Radio. This is Straight Out the Trunk Radio with another dope-ass interview with another dope-ass individual. Today we have PoonDaga in the house. Music executive, 20 years plus in this music game. Hold on, I gotta give you a little rundown of who PoonDaga is, you dig? Music executive over the last 20 plus years, has traveled the world, has been in contact with y'all favorite artists. He's a community leader, a community give back organizer, radio personality on Radio 1, Hot 97.5, Atlanta, Georgia, iHeartMedia. He's he's been in the game for so long. He got stories to tell. He has information to tell. You feel me? He's seen the game from cassette CDs to streaming. You dig? So we're gonna be talking about it all today. Ladies and gentlemen, Straight Out the Trunk Radio. We have PoonDaga in the house. How's it going, sir?
What's up, brother?
Appreciate you for pulling up on us.
Come on, man. It wasn't hard to pull up.
I know, right? Thanks for walking up on us. You feel me? Thanks for walking up. Real shit.
That's
you know?
crazy.
How's the week going? It is Grammy week here out in LA right now. How you move around the city?
Man, as always, just hectic, just doing a lot of different stuff, man. Just, a lot of people, this theme for the Grammys is LA Strong. So any and everybody that's doing everything for the Grammys is making sure they give back to the people that's been affected from the fires, like myself, you know what I'm saying? So, I got a little spot out in Pasadena, so we had to move and be gone for a while. A bunch of other my folks out there, so it's definitely crazy.
Did the last couple of days it rain like last week? Did the rain help any way, or did it make it worse?
I think the fires actually were out by the time the rain come, but it did, if I'm not mistaken, create a little mudslide over in Palisades.
Oh, wow.
The rain still helps just to make sure. So, you know what I mean? If you can't, one thing is the other. You know what I mean? So you can't win for losing, brother.
I appreciate I appreciate it again. Once pulling up Straight Out the Trunk Radio, 20 years plus in the game, and there's so much knowledge that you could share with us and this platform. First of all, born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
Right. Well, I wasn't born here, but I was raised.
All right, where was you born?
I was born in New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, my family from my dad's Belizean. He's from Hartford. My mom is she's from New Haven, and we moved here when I was 3. To Crenshaw Slauson, like 77.
Was there a reason why your parents wanted to move?
My grandmother, she got a big job at the VA hospital.
Okay.
So when she did that, we all kind of made the way. My mom was an aspiring actress and doing plays and, stuff like that. In the 80s and the 70s, theatricals was really big in that fashion. So you had a lot of people, instead of just trying to be an actor, they wanted to do plays, and, you know what I'm saying?
Be on Broadway.
Be on Broadway.
That's totally different from acting.
Yeah,
you can't mess up on Broadway.
Hell no, you got to be real fierce. You got to be on point. So, LA had a real big early scene. A lot of people think, Tyler Perry kind of started that scene, but they don't really know. People like Shelly Garrett, people like another brother, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but Shelly Garrett, I know, is one of the originators of the plays. Did stuff like Mama I Wanna Sing.
Okay, ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like old school play. I think Denzel Washington might have been in one of them.
Oh, that's fire. Early Denzel?
Early Denzel.
A young Denzel? We need to see that. You grew up in Los Angeles in the 70s and 80s, high school in the 90s. Can you talk about that lifestyle and that culture around that time? Because you was born probably a couple of years prior, gangbanging started. It started flourishing out here in LA. It was created. Can you talk about growing up in Los Angeles in the 70s and 80s?
Well, I mean, if you know about Los Angeles and the culture here, one of the biggest and the most, I guess, known reputation for is it's aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up here, a lot of things that other people would do, we just didn't do because everybody wanted to show how tough they was, how they could fight, this, that, and the third. So automatically, when you from a neighborhood or live somewhere, it's almost like second nature to, represent it or be down with it. You know what I'm saying? You're young, you're trying to figure stuff out. So it was a thing to do, and that's what everybody did. So that's why it was so much friction, a lot of BS.
What was your first hustle as a kid?
My first hustle as a kid was the newspaper.
You got up early in the morning and wrapped it and threw them?
Okay, so this what it was. I think it was something like the Wave threw the paper and somebody else threw a free paper. So those papers would stack up because a lot of people didn't pick up the free paper.
Okay.
So if you went around and you picked up the free paper and turned in a bunch of free papers, I think they would give you something like 5-10 cents a paper. Like it was some. Yeah, it was something real small like that. But
that's like recycling, basically.
Exactly, it was recycling. But you would go do that and try to do your hustle. And then I started finding out about gambling, so I went like straight from there to pitching pennies.
What you mean pinching pennies,
like pinching nickels and pennies?
Okay.
Like we used to do like at 54th Street Elementary and shoot it, man. Western Elementary. We all would get on the wall and try to see who gets the closest to the wall.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You start out playing quarters, then you start taking the quarter and playing for dollars. Then you go to 5. You know what I'm saying? Then it goes to dice game.
I was about to say, when did the dice come into your life?
Dice probably came maybe like about 4th or 5th grade. I was definitely shooting dice by the time I was in the 6th grade, because by the time I got to Audubon, I was full-fledged shooting. I had my own dice and everything.
Damn. And in high school, you was playing sports?
Yeah. I played football, Pop Warner, so I was a big Baldwin Hills representative, right here off of Obama. You know what I'm saying?
Make the streets right now.
Back then it was rodeo. You know what I'm saying? So, I played at Baldwin maybe 6 years, 5-6 years.
I love that. All right, this is one of my favorite questions I love to ask my guests. Who had a better playlist growing up, your mom or your pops? Or even grandma?
My dad.
What was dad bumping?
Because my dad was a songwriter, so he was into music, so he had like jewels. Like, I can hear stuff like The Temptations to Donny Hathaway, of course, to, all the hip new funk bands that was coming out, Function, SOS Band, even to stuff that crossed over like the Eagles and you know what I'm saying, and Toto, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, four tops and everything.
Like, it was a variation. I even listened to Pat Benatar. I didn't have like one like stick that I would go to. If it was a vibe and it was dope, I probably gravitated to it, which in turns kind of gave me my hand in music.
I like that. That's a great story right there. Shout out Pops. All vinyls.
Vinyls, 45s.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? With the little funny little thing in the middle. He had a couple of record players because, again, he was a songwriter, so he had like the most up-to-date stuff because he would have to write. So he would be sitting, listening to tracks, writing songs, you know what I'm saying? It was a real serious vibe, especially in L.A. at that time, because if you were in L.A. doing music in the 70s and the 80s, you were popping. It wasn't just random, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you actually was in the studio, was working. It wasn't a lot of fakers like it is now. I say everybody's in the studio. Bro.
You had to be in the studio now.
If you was in the studio back then, like, first of all, you would never know who you see. You'll go to a studio session, think you about to work with somebody like the Whispers and see Stevie Wonder and, you know what I'm saying, the OJs. You feel me? Like, how they get here? Not even knowing they writers or they this, they that. It was just a real big gumbo pot of a lot of different stuff, and so many different labels was here. Solar, Motown, what else? My boy, rest in peace, the Black Godfather hit, what's his name?
Clarence Avant.
Clarence Avant. His label was here. So you had a lot of real big, successful black labels that was here. And then even labels like Stax and stuff like that. Like, it was just a lot of success in the city.
Yeah, big old gumbo pot of blackness, of black success.
Definitely.
When did you see that start diminishing?
When did I see it start diminishing in LA?
Yeah.
Well, it really started diminishing like when the transition of hip hop really came into play because a lot of those because of record sales pretty much.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The funk and the soul that everybody was traditionally loving in the 70s and the 80s and even that kind of Minneapolis sound that Prince really embedded because Prince was a wave. Like everybody wanted to be Prince at one point in time. I don't care how gangster you was. I don't care how street you was. Like I remember people.
You had some purple pants?
I didn't have no purple pants. But I did have maybe like a shirt that, you know what I'm saying, might have had a couple of extra little buttons on it or whatever, but I couldn't do the ass out jeans.
Hope not.
But the thing about it is that Prince was just off limits to even talk about. Like, we couldn't even say stuff like that. You might get beat up because that's just how sacred Prince was. Like, Prince was the key of getting booty. You know what I'm saying?
Key of getting booty.
Bro, if you had a Prince tape with something like Scandalous played 2 or 3 times, how can you not get booty? Like you
damn, all right.
Come on,
I'm gonna try that with this generation and see if Prince he still got the juice.
You know what I'm saying? Just
to get the juice.
Make sure you just get a little wine, you know, buy a little Chiba or something. Make sure she in the right mood, and I promise you, just leave it on repeat. By the time 3rd or 4th time, I'm telling you, she gonna be loving it.
Oh, player.
You can't get around it. He's just too, little in it. Right.
All right, I fucks with. Shout out Prince, man. We do miss you out here.
Peace,
yes, sir. PoonDaga, aka Poon Daddy. Does that mean like when I hear Poon, I'm like Poon, that coochie, that pussy. You feel me? Like and Dagger, I'm dagging it. Like you killing that coochie. Like where that name come from? PoonDaga.
Well, so just kind of so you get it. It was always, when I got on the radio, it was Poon Daddy. And that kind of came from, you get it, the quote unquote, what they may say in college. I was in the AUC. I went to Clark Atlanta. So,
yes, sir.
I don't know, that ratio game, right? You know what that ratio was in the 90s?
What, probably 10 to 1?
10.
20 to 1?
It was 34 to 1. What? So that means literally you got an option of maybe 34 to 40 girls. That just for you. Like the other dude, he got 34 or 40. You know what I'm saying?
Where that at? I miss it.
You know what I mean? So you got Freaknik, you had all these wild parties and stuff going on. So the game was definitely there. So that was the thing that kind of superseded me, the father of it. And then as time went on, and things get a little weird, I didn't really wanting to be called Poon Daddy anymore. It's not really,
You had grown men calling Poon Daddy?
I have grown men that scream my name from afar just because of what they kind of know my nostalgia was.
Gotcha.
Growing up, I was like that dude that was Atlanta and really didn't give a hell. You know what I'm saying?
Understand.
So at that time, it was a character. I got the whole Poon Daddy character from a guy right here, like literally maybe 200 feet from me. His name is Russ Parr. And he was at a station called K-Day, the original 1580 K-Day. And that was right here on the corner.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Russ Parr is still a disc jockey now. And he created an alter ego named Bobby Jimmy. And Bobby Jimmy got so big that he got a record deal. He had movies. He had all type of stuff. And it was his alter ego. So this is like pre-digital underground, any of that. Damn. This was all right here.
Thinking like, man, what can I put I need a motherfucking alter ego now.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
Trunk band or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, some.
You might just need to rise out the trunk with all the hits just coming, you know what I
mean? I'm thinking about that, yeah, real shit. BTN, Big Head the Name, some.
You know what I mean?
I fucks with that. In the 90s, so much happened in the 90s. We had the 94 earthquake in Northridge. Right. You feel me? We had 2 of our East Coast, West Coast beats that is going down. We had the Rodney King riots,
Yeah, that was my senior year.
Let's talk about that. Like, do you remember that day when it happened? Like,
hell yeah, I remember.
Was you out there looting yourself?
Hey, I'm just gonna tell you like this. I partaked and I had a good time. I didn't do nothing that wasn't nobody else doing. But I can remember specifically. I was at Laces. You know what Laces is, right?
No.
Los Angeles Center for Rich Studies.
Okay.
LACS.
Okay.
Over on Fairfax. We're there. They're having a dance recital. I don't know if you know about Laces, but they had probably some of the baddest women in LA at that time. This is pre-cell phone pagers. Everybody's pager is going off at the recital. So everybody's looking around. So we all trying to get to a phone. I remember I go across the street to my homeboy, Big Country Randy. He lived like right across the street. I promise you, this is gonna sound like it's something, but I bullshit you not. The first person that I seen coming out of the gymnasium at Laces was Leonardo DiCaprio. I swear to God,
what?
He was like running into the building because he went to the school there. Him and Tobey Maguire, they actually went there. But I was like tripping because I was like, oh, that's that dude off Family Matters or whatever show he was on, because he was on like a show back then and he had just got on the show. So I'm tripping like, so as I'm seeing this, I remember seeing him going in the big country house and he was like, hey man, it's the verdict out. Everybody rioting. I'm like, what? I run back across the street, tell everybody. I don't know, I can't remember. I damn near feel like we walked. We just like ran and walked because
y'all was walking so fast.
When you was kids, well maybe we got a ride, but I don't know. It was at least 9 or 10 of us. But that 18th Street in Fairfax to Rodeo and La Brea seemed like 10 minutes. It did not seem long enough. And it ain't that far because, you know, once you get right there to La Cienega, you just go right up the street. So we echo back over there. As soon as we get back over there to La Brea, it was a Foot Locker right on La Brea and Rodeo at that time. And somebody was ramming a car into the Foot Locker. So that right there, we knew it was cracking. And from then it was on. People was doing everything.
I bet.
I remember. I think I had a car for like 4 days.
I was about to say, what you come up with? Like how many flat screens? Did you come up with some TVs?
Well, it wasn't really flat screen. It was the push-in TV.
Okay.
Yeah, the big screen. I remember I had like 3 or 4 of them at my mom's house. She was kind of nervous. Actually, my mom jetted because people start snitching on people and they were giving you money.
Oh yeah,
if you got a whole bunch of stuff, and you got like a lot of stuff. And I remember at my grandmother's house, we had a lot of stuff. We literally had 3 or 4 of those push-in TVs. We had like 6 couches. It was just extra stuff. We had stuff in the back. It was all type of stuff. So
I'm like, right? Imagine that stuff happened in today's time. Man. I think it'll be quadruple times worse.
I don't know because I don't think because they just let us go crazy. I don't think that they would do that again. You got to remember. I don't know if you know the backstory, but Chief Daryl Gates and Tom Bradley was beefing. The mayor and the chief. That's why the riots really happened, because the chief was out doing some stuff on a golf course when he knew the verdict was coming, and then Tom Bradley wasn't talking to the chief, so it was just a disconnect, and that's why they pulled everybody back, because there was nobody there to kind of direct what to actually do. So that first day, you had to let the second day because it was just too wild. So we got like 2 or 3 days of just wild. So by the third day, National Guard was there. It was up.
I think they allow us a day or two, then the National Guard will come.
No.
I think maybe a day, maybe 24 hours before National Guard comes.
Not with this new.
No, you don't think so?
Not with Trump, bro. I think he gonna already be ready. As soon as he sees some black people.
But who knows? He might call his people to come out here for, you know.
Good luck. We can try that. You know what I'm saying?
Can you talk about the hype of the East Coast and West Coast beef in the 90s?
Man, well, I could give you a dead-on situation. So, because we went to school in Atlanta, and it was so many different kids, we had our own West Coast, East Coast beef.
In Atlanta?
In Atlanta. So, I remember with all the Pac and all the stuff that was going on, you had a lot of California people, of course. Yes, and you had a lot of East Coast. You know, it was all 3 states. Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, like the tri-state, and even Pennsylvania. They all consider that like, you know, New York area.
Yeah.
So, my homeboy, Derek Tucker. What's up, DT? He's a DDP Dorsey alum, and he also went to Morris Brown and Clark. He was talking to a girl, I think, from Connecticut. When he was talking to the girl, something happened. It was some type of miss. So she went and called her fake brother. You know what I'm saying? He came over there.
Fake brothers who really want some. But
they was from New York. So he came. Derek is a Dorsey, you know what I'm saying? Baldwin Hills type, curly hair, curly top. So we was just, you know what I mean? That whole West Coast, East Coast, oh, yo, son, all that. So we're not even hip to what's going on. Another one of my homies, Mondo Mondo and Pee Wee, Walter Clayton, and my other homeboy Armando, they're in the elevator as the dudes coming downstairs to look for it. They don't know that they're from LA. So they're in the elevator, like, yeah, we gonna show him. When we see that, we gonna get him. And then we had another homeboy named Michael Long. We called him Whitey because he's actually a white boy. Now it's a white boy going to a HBCU, so he's standing out like a sore thumb. So they like, we gonna get the ponytail dude, all that. They're not knowing they're in the elevator with the homies. Soon as the elevator opens, the homies fire on them. Bow, bow. We're already downstairs. We don't know what's going on. We just see the dudes come out. Big melee in the lobby of the dormitory.
East Coast, West Coast.
The fight got so big. I remember the homie busting a glass, running across the freeway. It was so like it was on the news. Like literally, I remember the school had like pictures of some of our homies like, Bolo, be on the lookout. If you see these guys, call the authorities. It was some very serious shit, man. But that was kind of like our whole West Coast. So that was something that the altercation that we had. But of course, the Tupac and Biggie shit just fueled it all. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all in a whole, not even on y'all down south having that East Coast, West Coast beef. That is hilarious.
It was serious.
And probably like people from the south is like, what are they even talking?
No, they was, because you got to remember. The Biggie Tupac thing was so big, everybody was choosing a side. So the South dudes, like usually, a lot of the Southerners really kind of align themselves with LA. They really
okay. I was going to ask that. I was like, did they go with the East or the West?
Yeah, they really kind of had. It was originating from the East Coast, so they did it. But a majority of the regular everyday Southerners, they wear the Dickies. They, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of the same vibes, but they just Southern. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. You went to Clark, Atlanta. Clark, Atlanta, I was going to go there, but I didn't take my fucking SATs or AC, not SAT, ACT.
Yeah, you had to take that back there.
Yeah. You played football. What was that culture shock when you first got to Atlanta? Because you from South Central, not South Central, but LA, you feel me? And you going to Atlanta where it's country, and it's all mostly, I'm going to say, majority black.
All black.
So when you come out here from LA, you see Hispanic, you see black, a little white, so but when you go to Atlanta, it's black. So what was that transition like, and how did you adjust?
I didn't know what the hell or where I was at, because what I tripped out is that when I got there, I seen things like the police with gold teeth and finger waves and their arm sleeves toe low up, and they got big gold buckles on. So these dudes look like gangsters, and they the police. They had a thing called the Red Dog. I remember it was like, hey man, make sure you don't look out for the Red Dog. The Red Dogs have on boots and Dickies. They don't even wear police, nothing. They come chase you, run down the street. They was like a real task force, kind of like Dare, but on steroids.
Only reason why I know about the Red Dogs is because of that BMF Power series.
Exactly.
They had the Red Dogs in there tasting Big Meats in there.
Hey, so you already get it. That's a real thing, and they was serious. They would take people dope, put your face. They just had the right to kind of just shit on you. You know what I'm saying? So that was something that was very unique. And then everybody in every position of the city was black. The mayor, the chief, every council person. So everybody was black. So for me, by us having multicultural here, this is the first time that I can really feel like, yo, this is a black city. And it stood through. You know what I'm saying? So the other thing was, this biggest culture shock was that aggression, toning it down.
Okay.
Because when I got there, being from LA, when you
mean
to LA, you don't even know when you mean mugging. You just being you.
Mm-hmm.
But you done already tore the whole room up because they scared of you. The girls don't want to talk to you, everything. So you really have to kind of find a way to tap in and really kind of lock into Atlanta. That's why so many people that when they go to Atlanta and they're not from there, they really tap into the culture. Because if you don't tap into the culture, you kind of get missing. You know what I'm saying? So I think I probably can say I helped that, because they didn't really have anybody that sounded like they was from Atlanta on the radio.
Gotcha. When you went to Atlanta, did you bring the LA music with you?
Yeah, of course. I remember I got a chance to play E40 for the first time. And the cool thing about it is that I think when I first heard E40 was like the summer I was going to school. It wasn't just E40, it was the Click. So I heard the Click, and some of my homeboys from Vallejo had turned me on to them. But I had already knew like people like RBL, Totally Insane, Chunk Mag, what's my other boy's name? Sideshow, 415, groups like that. All these groups is already big. Too Short, of course. all these groups was Bay Area groups that was kind of getting some motion in LA, so I kind of knew about it. But when I got there and I linked with dudes from the Bay, man, I learned so much.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that. True or false? Lisa Left Eye Lopez saved your life from getting beat up.
Yes, she 100% did. After riots, at Magic Mountain, like 92. Yeah, 92 grad night.
Because I was doing some more research on you. It seemed like y'all had a big brother, little sister, or big sister, little brother type of relationship.
Yeah. She just kind of seen something in me. Like I said, the LA aggression and just how the LAism is just sometimes a little bit over. She made me tone it down and really make me realize just because you from LA, that don't mean that's all you are. You come here to learn. You come here to meet people. And really made me look at Atlanta and just the culture of school in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to really tap in and really realize, like, look, I go to a historical black college. I need to really make sure I learn as much or find out about as much. And I did. I got a chance to really get a full education on us and our culture and really how we are and how we've always been.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that. So, Clark Atlanta, when 20 plus years in the music game, when did the music game industry come into your lap, fall into? When did you walk into a door?
Well, Lisa, because she just kept it real with me. I was playing football, and I wasn't really playing football. I was trying to play. I think I got hurt, and you know what I'm saying, I wasn't getting no run. I think I barely made the team, and was just, you know what I'm saying.
Was you on scholarship?
I was on scholarship, but I think like my second year, I got like a partial scholarship because I got hurt. So my third year, I wasn't even really gonna get a scholarship. So I was like, I need to figure it out. And then that's when Lisa was like, "Hey, you need to come over here and learn music." Actually, her and Andre Rising, because at that time she was going with Dre. So, yeah, so that's really was like a big thing for her, for me to really understand the music. So I've always had an ear. She told me I had an ear. That's just because I gravitate to certain sounds and stuff that sound good. So she knew I had an ear. So she just made me really train that ear. Listen to music, be around real music, real true musicians. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to ask, how do you train your ear to listen to good music?
First thing you do, you learn theory.
Okay.
Music theory is a way to be able to train your ear and also have a cheat edge. Because if you know how something is supposed to go, you'll know what it's sounding before the actual producer knows. Because they're playing what they feel, but they're playing chords that's roundabout in the chord structure of how it goes. So once you learn, just like da 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 da, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Since you know that's how that goes, then you know what somebody else is gonna do in the chords they play. Boom 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So they might go boom 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 boom, and you might go, no, it's supposed to go boom boom boom. They're like, how you know? Because those are the chords. So that's how it's supposed to play together. So once you learn theory and you learn about notes, you learn about how notes sound, you learn about singing techniques and stuff like that, you really get a chance to get a cheat sheet, because now you can be like, oh, that's that. While somebody else just like, oh, that shit dope.
Did you switch up your major in college and go into music?
Man, I switched my major like 5 times. First, I started with criminal justice. I was like, hell nah, ain't gonna be no police. Then I went to drama. And I've always kept my drama, but I just made it a minor. So I went from drama, and then I made my major at Clark, mass communication.
Okay.
And I had a concentration in TV, film, and a minor in theater.
So you didn't take no music theory classes?
I took theory.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
My dad told me, you know what I'm saying, maybe this is something to do. Lisa didn't even tell me to take music theory. I was just trying to figure out, like, how can I get an edge up? So I spoke to my dad, and he was like, learn theory. He was like, if you learn theory, you're always going to be ahead of somebody else. And it really worked, because I really was. You know what I'm saying?
What was that first job internship you did in the music industry?
For this dude named Jason Staten. Lisa did, it wasn't really like an intern. It was just fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm going around, I'm running around. She got a bunch of groups, kids my age. I'm meeting people like Malik and Illegal and Naughty by Nature and EPMD, just all these different people. But once I started at the station, it got really weird and different. I kind of learned structure, you know, and on pole and gaining your way up. This guy named Jason Staten told me to arrange like 2,000 records the first time he seen me. So just imagine me coming from
like alphabetically or like by like
alphabetically.
2,000.
And this is like the first day you meet him. Like this is like you don't even really know what intern it is.
You might say do it, but you were like 100 motherfuckers every time.
Man, I told that
motherfucker,
nigga, fuck that nigga. I walked out of that motherfucker so fast, and then I had to bite my tongue because when I got back to the room and I was telling other people, my homeboy was like, bro, it ain't about the records. You have to show these motherfuckers that you down and you're going to be dedicated to working at the station. This is how they going to know. If you arrange these records and you ain't even get paid to arrange the records, once they pay you, they know you really going to be serious. I was like, damn, you know, new game. You know, we don't, you know what I'm saying? So I figured that out, went back the next day. Man, let me get the record.
I'm sorry. I feel you.
And me and Jason is still cool right now, man. He really helped build Radio 1. He was one of them original Radio 1 engineers there. You know, Radio 1 is owned by Kathy Hughes.
Yes.
Black, you know what I'm saying? So that was really like a big push, too, that I was on a black station.
Do you remember the first time you was you went live?
Yes.
Live. Like, what was that day? What was the nerves? What was you thinking?
Well, just to kind of put something on it. So I explained to you about Bobby Jimmy, right?
Yes.
So what I did was, again, since I heard that no one sounded like the Southerners, I kind of tapped in with all my Southern people and my family, and the persona of PoonDaga was a dude on a bicycle giving you the traffic on the freeway.
Okay.
So, you know, like usually it'll be like, oh, it's congested on the 405. You've got to take the, you know what I'm saying, and make sure you get on the 110 and, you know, slow in this spot and bumper to bumper and stuff like that. No, I didn't do that. So when it was my turn to get on, they'd be like, they say, oh, we're going to check in with the traffic with PoonDaga. And I say, shout it, it's your boy PoonDaga. Hey, check this out, man. You go get off on that goddamn bankhead. If you get off right there, you're going to make a right. Go straight down there past the Mission Winters. Don't turn, don't go nowhere. When you get right up under that overpass, make a left. You're going to ride that out for about 3.5 miles. Then, if you over there downtown, you're going to take that off, go right past that stadium. When you get past the stadium, go straight past the school. Make sure you blow at them folks. You know, it was just a whole...
Yeah!
It was a whole vibe. It was a whole vibe. So, when people heard it, if you from Atlanta, oh, that's my cousin. That's my friend. You know what I'm saying? So, it was something that people had a dear, care spirit, even though I'm from LA. You know what I'm saying? But it was a niche.
You touch their soul, you touch their spirit, like, oh, that's just from around the block, you know? So I fucks with, oh, that's dope.
So that's why I got a lot of attention and people liked it. So I actually did it like maybe for a week, and I started getting mail at the station. I'm still interning. I'm not even getting paid, so we get mail. And then maybe like, let's say a month or so go by, that's when I meet Luda. He comes up there trying to get his music on the radio. I tell him, I can't get your music on the radio, but maybe you can help, blanket or address the station. So when you hear radio stations, of course, you hear people talking, you hear different drops and stuff like that. Well, every station have like 1 or 2 people that does it. And just like your intro right there, every person in the time slot has an intro. So Chris did intros and outros for every jocks that was on, even the weekend.
Nice.
So when their show came on, what you're doing too is now you got people knowing who you are, but you're also getting the people familiar with your voice. You know what I'm saying? So when you get a chance to get on, it's like, oh shit, I like him. So this was like his whole way of actually getting on. Then I told him, I'm like, look, bro, they fucking with you, so you got to keep coming up here. So we would hang out, and then they had me on the evening show as an intern and him on the morning show.
Okay,
but because we were so young, they said we got to get them together. So they ended up giving us a weekend show. Ended up being number 1 in our market.
I love that. Lover, Chris Lover. Yeah. Oh, that's fucking fire.
And Lala. I can't forget about my girl Lala. You know what I'm saying?
What did
my show as well.
Did y'all ever like have creative differences or bump heads? How did y'all overcome that? Because two creative people sometimes might have to bump heads, and how did y'all overcome that? And because y'all a dynamic duo.
I think really because we had a lot in common, meaning comedy-wise, music, just personality. It just gelled. And we was too young, so it was like, if I was saying something, if I wanted to say something, I wanted to do something, we just did it. And then next time it was him. But usually 9 times out of 10, we would be doing similar the same thing because we were so much on the same vibe.
I love that. You see him as a disc jockey to a rapper, a successful rapper, then to a successful movie actor, and I'm guaranteed you was there through the whole transition of all 3 phases of his life. Can you talk about seeing that? Because a lot of artists, they just artists sometimes,
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll say it because I've seen him say it before, but I was one of those that really told him early on, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Whatever, we're going to write a movie, we're going to do all this type of stuff. And it was just funny to him, but I seen it in him. I seen a lot of the same just ability to be able to adapt to pop culture, be able to mimic it, be able to tap in with different stuff, even on the MCing style. Just how he comes up with his rhyme patterns and different stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. He's unmatched. He's in my top 5. You feel me?
A lot of people might not look at certain movies and come up with a whole rap out of it. You know what I'm saying? But Chris would. Chris has been rapping since he was like 10 or 11, so he had a long time, to be able to do it. So it was something he just jumped in it, and his personality really stood tall. That's why he's still doing what he's doing. And by him being so silly, the acting just came hand in hand. You know what I mean? All you got to do is be able to just show that.
I hear that. What would you consider the most fun time in your life? Like, would you say early in high school, would you say Clark Atlanta, after Clark, pre-radio, after radio,
like that whole era, like after Clark going into radio, because if you could just imagine being on the radio, the first hip-hop station in Atlanta, and you at the AUC. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You could go anywhere. I know everybody. So I got Carter and Blanche at the club. I'm bringing in 5, 6 people. I'm going places like Club 112 where you can't get in. I'm going in getting chicken through the kitchen with dudes that don't even got their ID.
Yeah, that's lit.
So it was really something that almost kind of makes you feel like it really was a movie, because it was just something that was just so like point on for that time, because everything was like a variation. Like even when I talk about TLC and Babyface and Usher and all these people and all these things that are now was happening was right there with me to touch it. I remember seeing Outkast in the studio doing their first album. I remember being around Goody Mob when they was working on their first album, because it was all so tangible.
Did you see the Atlanta takeover? Like while it was happening, did you see, because Atlanta been taking over hip hop for the last 2 decades. Yes. And did you see that while you was out there in the 90s? Did you see that like forthcoming? Like, they're here. Like they about to take over the game.
Jeff Rowe ran the game in the 90s.
Yeah.
True. Totally honest.
Yeah, West Coast for sure.
But the South, people like Scarface, people like 8-Ball, MJG, UGK, Outkast, all these different groups started to make a real standard name for themselves. They start putting out bodies of work that were just so undeniable. So while the West Coast was reigning on the throne, these young dudes from the country got chicken, got some whiskey, got low riders too. They got, you know what I'm saying? They got their whole vibe too. So it was something that we seen actually flourish right in front of us, and everybody else was tagging into it, because you see people from the West. You know what I mean? My boy Corrupt Young Gotti, he's from Philly originally, but when he
embrace him like he from Cali
all day, because he's been here so long. But he's somebody that tapped in down south. He was a dungeon affiliate, as they called him. So these were different people that seen how dope these guys were and what they were doing. So you had to go get beats from Organized. You had to go fuck with Jermaine. You had to go fuck with, even the booty shake artists, the bass artists, like people like Raheem the Dream and Kilo and, Sammy Sam, and all these people were like the vibe of Atlanta. So the club was really the mainstay. So if you can get in the club in Atlanta, you really ran the city. Because if you had the strip club and the regular club, you run the city. You win.
Damn. I love Atlanta strip clubs. I do. I've been there one time and I was like, I don't want to leave. Right. Don't.
Oh, man, it was wonderful.
A lot of artists these days say radio is dead. Do you feel like radio is dead? Like,
hell no.
Because the artists like, I don't want you to get my record or play it on the radio, but if you get your record played on the radio, that shit touches a lot of ears.
9 times out of 10, if somebody said that radio's dead, they live in a major metropolitan city.
Okay.
That's why.
All right.
So if you live in a major metropolitan city, radio is dead. Why? Because you got fucking 5G towers everywhere. You can get internet service. But there's 35, 40 million people, like 25, 30 million people in Oklahoma. 25, 30 million people in Nebraska. 25, 30 million people in Kansas. These are all like rural places where they still listen to radio, and radio is king. The thing about it is, radio's not dead. The radio star is dead, because you have to be a superb star to win in radio. You can't just be fly by night.
Who would you say was the last radio star that we had?
What type of music?
Hip hop, R&B, pop.
From LA?
Yeah, from LA.
The last big radio star here, I guess you could say Kendrick, but even before Kendrick, you got Tyga. YG's done good at the radio. Who else?
Ty Dolla $ign.
Ty Dolla $ign done good at the radio. Who else? It's a few other. Even people like underground people like the one Spanish dude?
Lefty?
No, the real Spanish dude. Not no disrespect to Lefty. He's doing his thing, but I think his name is Peso. No, not Peso, but Flor. I remember one time he shut down Hollywood Boulevard. What's his name? He's a Spanish.
Isn't it Money Science? No, he passed.
Nah.
He passed
What's
away.
the guy's name? He's really big. He's a Spanish artist.
Peso Puma?
No, not Peso Pluma. He was before Peso Pluma.
Oh, damn.
What's his name?
It's not Peso. It's not Money
No,
Science.
it's not. He's a short Spanish dude. I mean, he had like, I remember he literally shut down Hollywood Boulevard.
It's gonna come to me. I think I knew you talking.
I can't remember. But anyway, but just to say, there's a lot of artists that really do good and really do big at radio, but they also are radio stars. They're not just somebody that's going to try to act cool or try to do, like, because when you're a radio star, you're fun. You talk. You're engaging. This stuff and thing. You can't really just be recruits.
True,
on your
that's
phone
true. That's
with
very,
your, with
yes.
your shiesty on all the time.
Oh, thank you for letting them know that. Very true. I was gonna say, how did you like prepare for interviews back in the day with like upcoming artists? Anyways, because with me, like artists, they'll come in here and try to act too cool, you know, and say 2-word answers. Like, hold on, give me a paragraph or something. It's something, you know. Like, how did you prepare or make your way around that?
I watched a lot of film. I watched a lot of other disc jockeys. California, I mean, whether you know it or not, has been the home of some of the biggest disc jockeys in the last 50 to 60 years.
True.
I'm talking about, of course, Rick Dees and Casey Kasem and Wolfman Jack. Like, these are guys that were legendary in radio. So if you watch them and you watch Dick Clark and people like that, these people knew how to turn it on at the drop of a dime. And they also made an artist feel comfortable to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? They'll catch him off guard and say something to him. I remember one time they told Dick Clark that Prince wasn't going to talk when he tried to interview him or whatever. He was like on American Bandstand. So he was trying to get him to talk. And he was like, so is this music good or not? And he said, the music is great. And he said, I thought you weren't going to talk. Like, but he just, you know what I'm saying? He knew something to say to get him to engage.
Get a reaction, yeah.
So that's something that you would have to learn either from watching other journalists or either watching old tricks from back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Like, what's your thoughts right now on the music industry right now?
Well, the water's on, man. So you just got all type of different facets that's happening and different people that's doing. So it's no govern. You know what I'm saying? And mediocrity is really on a high level right now. Like stuff that's average, it gets looked at like it's the best thing.
How can we switch that? How can we lower that? Like
I said, do your research and also understand that you can be a rapper or you can be an artist. It's a big difference because an artist is gonna do things that people may not like, but it's gonna be for a reason because they're gonna grow and come into something. A rapper is gonna chase fast, try to do anything that anybody's doing to make money. Those people come and go. You know what I'm saying? When you have a real artist, this is a person that doesn't give a fuck about what nobody else thinking because he has substance, he has a point of attack, he has things, goals that he wants to do in the industry. It's like Kendrick. People keep saying Kendrick has never been this big. Kendrick ain't never been this big because he ain't want to be this big. The man was up for a Nobel Peace Prize, bro. Like, why do people just make it seem like that's not a big accomplishment? That was like 7, 8 years ago.
That's huge.
You feel what I'm saying? So I just think a lot of times people don't really get it and see it for really what it is. If you want to be better than everybody else, man, you got to get it in the gym. You got to really.
You got to study. Yeah, very
really
true.
Go
Yeah.
do it.
What's your? Are you managing any artists right now? What is PoonDaga right now, like repertoire, like inventory? You got a roster on you? What's happening?
I do consulting for a few different artists. My boy Onyx, you know what I'm saying. Also too, my boy 100 Bands, you know what I'm saying, out of LA. I'm not really managing anybody because when I manage somebody, it's like full throttle. I'm like dedicated to everything, and I promised myself that I was gonna tap back into this media world. So I got a couple of little horizons coming up. We got a TV show, a television show called Soul Sonic Force.
Okay.
And we tape it right here in Lamert, me and a couple of guys. And it's a little bit different. Everybody always want to talk about, you know, the fun stuff. We're talking about the unfun stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mental health, co-parenting. You know what I'm saying? How to be a stand-up father. How to be a stand-up husband and still be cool. How to be able to deal with the different things that go on in life. And you see a big booty, and you know what I'm saying.
Those are untapped conversations.
Yes, and they're conversations that need to be had because if we don't help sharpen ourselves or make ourselves better, we can't sit up and complain when we're not.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And if we don't have the uncomfortable conversations, then everything is just going to be funny and lit, and life is just not like that. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody, they can't be lit all the day time.
Hell no. You gotta talk about real shit, man.
You had some areas and expertise: artist development, AR, marketing, promotions, business development, music and visual media, content curating, consulting, and music placement. Which one do you feel like is the most fun for you?
The most fun for me is the true development of an artist that really wants to be the best. Especially when you see somebody don't have it, but they just have the passion. To me, I take that more than a person that's talented that might be able to play this because they're going to probably come off cocky. They're not going to really study. But meanwhile, I might have this kid that might not even know how to play scale, and he's going to play scale for the next 2 years. Then he's going to learn how to play song. Then he's going to learn how to play by ear. Then he's going to learn how to play drums. Then he's going to learn how to play...
He's willing to learn.
Yes, he understands the involvement of the craft because every time you tap into something else on that creative front, it's going to do nothing but grow your ear so you can be able to hear stuff and do stuff that no one else is going to be able to hear. You can't control how you're going to flow when you're doing music because if you know how to do it, you're going to go off whatever emotion that you're going through. And who's to say that you're going to have that when the homies are there? You might only have that when you're alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might, you know what I mean? It might be a hidden place where you only play at 2:30 to 6:30. Ain't nobody else gonna be around at that time. But whatever it is, you really, key into it and you really tighten up and make sure that you're giving it your best. You know what I'm saying?
No, I respect that. I understand that. True or false? You had a part in Nate Dogg being on Area Codes with Ludacris.
Yes, I did. At first, they wanted to get somebody, I forgot who it was. Was it Pharoah Munch? I don't know. It was somebody else, another East Coast rapper. And I was like, no, we got to get Nate Dogg. And Jazzy Faye did the beat. And I remember talking to Jazzy. Jazzy was like, man, you going to holler at him? I think I called like 2-3 people and we got in touch with Nate. And it was just a no-brainer after that. Once we heard it, that record and Move Bitch.
My nigga, that's my shit. It's my shit. Do you have a favorite record of all time? Like you have not off of Ludacris, but all time.
Artist.
Like who's your favorite? Like who's your top 5?
My top 5. Okay. So I do this real funny. I'm gonna go areas. You know what I'm saying? So my top 5 fully probably gonna have to be like. Cool G Rap.
He reaching, y'all.
Cool G Rap. Ice Cube. Ludacris. 3000.
Ooh.
And then it's just like a hard flip between Tupac and and Biggie.
Okay.
I like them both, actually. I mean, I think I was more of a Tupac fan simply because he was a West Coast. But to me, they meant so much in hip-hop. You're starting to bullshit if you do go. So it's like you just got to put them there. You know what I'm saying? And keep them there.
You can probably put them both as like Tupac and Biggie.
Exactly.
That's how you know how we add them up. You know, like Tupac, then you have Biggie. Then you say Biggie, but where's Tupac?
Exactly.
So I get that. All right. I got a quick Q&A. We're gonna end this interview. Before that, we just a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, maybe last year, maybe 2, we just celebrated hip hop 50 years. Yep. You know. What's your thoughts on that? What's like? That's a big celebration. Do you see hip hop for another 50 years strong?
I definitely see it for another 50 years strong. And when you think about it, 50 years is not really that old. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty much still young in the promise of what type of music has been around, like rock and roll and country and.
You know, if we go back 50 years from now, we gonna low key be back in like Jim Crow's.
No, not 50.
50.
That's 70. Ain't no Jim Crow 70.
Okay,
Jim Crow's in the 60s.
60s, okay.
Remember, Dr. King is just
Yeah. Okay, my bad. Don't count that now.
HBCU. You should have been at HBCU. So I didn't know that.
With the Clark Atlanta. Yeah, very true. You right.
But, you know, about 55, 60 you would have been back there. But the point, but in saying that, to me, it was the let free era because the women started burning the bras, so they was free to do stuff. Mm-hmm. Black people got a little bit of equality. You had a whole movement, people doing drugs all over. So that was that era. That's why so much of the music is so beautiful because people really gave their. And also too, I'm just gonna say, 85% of the artists in the 70s and the 60s was high, like extremely high, like on.
Oh no, I bet.
You know what I'm saying? So that music was. You couldn't even get it as good as it is because they was out of their mind. They ain't gonna be able to do that no more. I used to see people like
even the musicians
Earth, Wind and Fire and what's that? You would see them just sweating and like
that's what I'd be like, yo, James Brown and his band be sweat. I'm like, they just be dancing. I'm like, yo, they be in drenched sweat. Like, yo,
you know they was hard. They was super hard.
In a tight ass suit.
You know they was hard. They was dumb hard.
Okay. All right, here's a quick Q&A. Are you ready? It's just either one or two. Here we go. NWA or Organized Noise?
Damn. Organized. Rest in peace, Rico Way.
Okay. ATL.
Damn, that's hard.
ATL strip clubs or Miami clubs?
ATL all day.
All right, chicken wings or street tacos?
Chicken wings.
All right, Kool-Aid or sweet tea?
Sweet tea.
Yeah, me too. All right, morning head or late night booty call?
Late night booty call, I ain't gonna lie.
All right, last one. Word of mouth or chicken and beer?
Word of mouth.
All right, I'm a chicken and beer nigga.
Yeah, word of mouth. Word of mouth was my shit. I A&R both of those records, but word of mouth was it was special. You know what I'm saying? It was very special. It was a monumental time.
I love that. PoonDaga, we are in the first quarter of 2025. What we got planned for this year?
Man, like I said, Soul Sonic Force. Catch me Saturdays. I do iHeart, different markets on the West Coast, Seattle, California, Arizona. So, but Daga World is coming too soon on iHeart. It's going to be a show as well on air on iHeart. But Soul Sonic Force is something I'm doing with my boys Cian and Big Tonto, Mr. Clean. But we're going to be doing it right here on King and Crenshaw. And it's going to be something dope, brother.
Can't wait to see. Even be a part of it. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying.
You feel me? Be a part. I'm a PA.
We're gonna definitely have you come on the show.
PA, part-time, intern, I do all that shit. Hey, real shit. I just want to be around shit, just to catch knowledge in the game and be around it. Real deal. What's a quote affirmation you living by?
If you're not striving to be better than you was yesterday, you're stuck in time.
Ooh, I like that. If you ain't striving to be better than was yesterday, you stuck in time. That's deep, dog. That's deep. That makes you feel like, yo, I can't be doing the same shit I did yesterday.
You can't. God didn't make us for that. It made us here to evolve in every way. Mentally, physically, emotionally, everything.
I respect that. Where they follow you at?
POONDAGA. PoonDaga.
PoonDaga in the motherfucking house, Straight Trunk Radio. Make sure you follow us. SODTR _ Make sure you follow me personally, Bankhead _ the name. Straight the Trunk Radio, PoonDaga in the motherfucking house. 20 years in the music game, you feel me? Got game, gyms, all that right here. Straight Trunk Radio. Shout out Red Eye behind the cameras. Hey, we out. Appreciate you.
Yeah.